Before we get into the video, I just want to start off by saying please go watch the Thank You Cajun video. It would mean the world to me, and if you can give him a love as well, that is even better. And regardless of that, today's video is going to be how to make good strats for Rainbow Six Siege. I think before we can even get into what makes a strat good, we need to first talk about what makes a defense bad, and how every defense will have a weakness regardless of how hard you try. First off, what makes a strategy bad? There are many things which make a strat bad, and the first example I'll cover is if a roamer who can easily be pushed out and killed, or will be killed eventually. There are two major examples of this in my opinion, but obviously there are many smaller ones. Example A, if we were playing piano as castle when doing an up top extension on cafe second floor, here's a strategy I have seen played out in blueprint format first. This would be for either a reading or a mining hold, where your goal would be to only burn time and hold the hatches. The issue is this is set up in a manner where no matter the ADS or caster count, there's no way to hold it properly unless you pour more utility on top of it, which weakens everything else, and I will note on that in a second. To start things off, let's have Sludge repel on one of the piano windows. If he breaks the barricade, you can cut off the ability to rotate cigar and then down hatch, red or balcony, leaving your only option to drop down the hatch, which you're trying to protect, which even then, you can still see the top of your head if he swings it. But now let's look at the worst case scenario, where all the attackers are in a position which they can kill you. In reality, you just need two to hold the room in there, and yeah. But looking at the blueprint, you look at the gazillion cross that they can hold on you, and even if Jaeger swings all the way onto cocktail double, he has to swing into deep bar or into freeze in order to actually get an angle in the ash, and even then he can't really help out much. So it kind of makes Castle completely helpless. Example B. A semi-common extension you will see in pretty much every rank except for plat and above is Aroma and Strip to help deal with Church and Moto hatch take. Many times when trying to attack for a hatch, you'll have someone pushing Strip in order to gain control. Usually not much utility is jumped into Strip if you're roaming, so therefore it can basically be ignored sometimes. And as a result, a single nade can also kill you if you are playing inside of it, and then force you to retreat, in which a player is caught by a player holding the hall. And to be honest, if you just were to sit outside of the green hallway door, you can easily get an angle in that hallway and just hold them, and eventually they're going to have to die. Now, it can be noted that these are very important parts of the map to hold, and therefore you'll have to figure out a plan to counter it, but it's impossible to counter everything at once. For example, in Tempra vs G2, we saw G2 get humiliated because they had a hole in their defense that no one else but Tempra really noticed. As you can see, there's no one inside of Kids, because they ran an extension into Armory, into Trophy, which made going for Master extremely hard. And then the second most popular plan of attack, which is going for Attic, going from there was going to be hard, seeing as they had Cantor Arcadi playing inside of Attic, and they also had Uno Meister inside a big tower who can easily just flee. Finally, the third most popular, but not really as much traction, a white big window take. Jaeger is playing behind one of the bunks, and therefore makes it hard to push white, and makes it even harder to push big window. However, Jaeger was on his cams, and they saw that, so they had the Amari swing in through the big window and push in. Leading up to the plant, this is what the situation looked like. This is why you need to be aware of the flaws in your defense and then adapt. Even though it's clear that they had holes to try and kill a bomb on a bunk, no one used it, so in the end, there's really no difference. And yet another example of this is BDS vs Virtus Pro on Villa during the loser bracket finals in the EU Major. In my opinion, this is one of the strongest pocket strat sites in the game right now. But the holes above have only one weakness, which damages the whole idea of being able to hold from above for a library take. Can you see it? It's the hatch right there. It grants them a free plant to go for, which is exactly what BDS got without taking a single gunfight. It just goes to show the weakness of even the strongest of defenses. Now, after hearing all this, you may be wondering, man, Pro League players can't even make a good strat, how can I? Well, that's entirely up to you. But first, have you heard of Rogue Energy? Rogue Energy is one of the cheapest drinks in the market at the $1 per serving. It also has 0 calories and 0 sugars. They also have these amazing tubs which are coming out this month. But what makes it 10 times better is the fact that they haven't even announced their new flavor yet. Thank you so much for supporting us, and let's get right back into it. A good strategy can really be up to you, and it really just depends on what you're working with. It also depends if you know your opponent well. Usually, my team attempts to adjust their strategy according to what the other team likes to take. However, you can't dump too much utility into one spot, or else you weaken everything else. As a result, balancing your utility while also making use of it is important. If you are Jaeger or Goyo, you should basically be constantly rotating that utility so that it gets used. But I'm not talking like you're going to swing in front of a guy shooting at you to grab it. It's like, if you're holding, let's say, Brick Shield on Villa, and then you can turn that right around and then place it to face Statue Door, then that's just one way of doing it. But it's super important to rotate it all the time to make sure that you always have it being used, otherwise you wasted an operator pick. Disrupt Gaming on Theme Park, for example, only sets up the mirror for Bunk once they have an idea of where the other team is going to push. Does it always work? Of course not. They got baited out by SSG when they jumped one side and then pushed the other. So honestly, it's up to you to figure out what's best. But with this conclusion, it also opens the door for me to start doing a site hold tutorial guide. And I want to know if you guys want me to do that. And I hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.